Hello Apex Agents, it's Mobius Y here with another video for Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer. So today's video is actually a two-parter, which means you guessed it, it is another character build guide that we're going through. And today we're looking at a fun character, the Uncommon Asari Sentinel. The Asari Sentinel is extremely similar to the human Sentinel. The only difference is instead of the barricade power, the Asari Sentinel gets Backlash, and instead of munitions training, which is a combat passive, the Asari Sentinel gets offensive biotics. The Asari Sentinel largely plays almost identical to the human Sentinel. You create a lot of tech bursts with your energy drain throw combo, but there are subtle differences in the fact that Backlash has a lot more utility, especially if you rank it up with more skill points, unlike Barricade, which gets just as much utility when you only have one skill point in it as you would if you put 6 skill points in it and 21 skill points in it and ranked it all the way up to level 6. So we're going to take a look at the breakdown of how I built the Asari Sentinel, how I use her the most, and I'll also discuss ways that you can change this build. Remember, these builds are always just guidelines. You are free to experiment on your own and figure out something that works for you if you don't want to copy this exactly, or if you simply don't like what you see. Now, when you're playing the Asari Sentinel and you're leveling up, the first thing you want to level up on her is Energy Drain, as that is your #1 support power, as well as survivability, kind of escape power as well. The second thing you want to level up is Tech Armor to give yourself some kind of additional survivability through the passive damage resistance that you can get. And the third thing you want to level up is Backlash. After that, you can split your attention between throw and or offensive biotics, whichever one you think is more important. That would be my recommendation of how you do it. I will admit that when I first started playing this character, the first thing that I leveled up was Backlash because I wanted to farm some Backlash points for the biotic challenge points. So let's get right down into it. The first skill we're going to look at, obviously, is Backlash. Took this all the way to rank 6. And Backlash is a very unique power. It creates a biotic shield in front of your character that offers damage resistance to any incoming fire from the front, and most projectiles actually get reflected back to your enemy and deal bonus damage to them in return. In order to actually deal damage to people that are shooting at you, you have to put them as close to the center of the reticule on your screen as possible. Your aiming reticule stays on the screen for as long as you have the Backlash Aegis shield activated. So if you put any enemies as close as you can to that reticule, it'll be just like if you are shooting them, and they will suffer projectile reflection damage. The base damage inflicted when you bounce projectiles back at people is 200% their normal damage. Their normal recharge time is 20 seconds on the shield if it runs out completely, and the base Aegis health is 400 points. So it can soak up a bit of damage, and it can dish out a bit of damage right back at any enemies who are actually shooting at you frontally. The second rank gives you a 25% recharge speed reduction. That'll take off about 4 seconds on the recharge speed. And the third rank gives you plus 35% Aegis health, which will be about about 125 or so Aegis points. So at rank 4, I went with the additional recharge speed, plus 40% recharge speed. This knocks off a few more seconds, allowing you to use Backlash as often as possible. Really handy for if you're trying to farm those Backlash points in order to complete things like challenges, especially the biotic challenges. Backlash is a very difficult skill to get lots of points in because it requires enemies doing something rather than you just actively using your powers. So I went with the recharge speed so I could use it as often as possible. The plus 50% Aegis health, giving it another 200 points of durability, is definitely a very good option if you just like really, really tough Aegis shields. At rank 5, I went with the projectile reflection damage. I felt that this was the easier way to farm more Backlash points more quickly, coupled with the recharge speed. Another plus 150% projectile damage returned. So this basically causes a total of 350% projectile damage returned. So you're tripling the damage dealt back on enemies that they would normally do to you if they were shooting you, which is just hilarious, and it helps them kill themselves all the more quickly. The other option, of course, is another plus 50% Aegis health for a durability upgrade at rank 5. Another good option if you simply like really strong Aegis shields. And at rank 6, I went with the Shield Resurgence choice. This gives the Asari Sentinel a little bit more tankiness on top of the general tankiness that you get, combined with energy drain and damage resistance from tech armor. It restores shields over 3 seconds after releasing Backlash, can restore up to 50% of shield strength, scaled to damage absorbed by the Aegis. So you do technically restore more shields if you choose both these durability options and take a lot of damage with it before releasing your Backlash shield. And this will give you more shields restored in return. However, since I preferred the idea of using it more often, as much as possible, it simply helps me maintain some semblance of shields so that I'm not strictly taking health damage. The other option increases damage inflicted for 3 seconds after releasing Backlash, scales with the amount of damage absorbed by the Aegis. This would be another one to combine with the 2 durability upgrade options, and this would probably be really good on a melee-centric Asari Sentinel, but I'll try that another time. Just didn't really seem to fit with the whole motif that I was going for to make this character as tanky as possible. So with Throw, this will be one of the last things you really need to upgrade because it gives great utility at rank 1. You've seen it before numerous times. I only took this to rank 4 on this character with a radius upgrade so that I can hit multiple enemies. If there's several enemies grouped up, I can stagger all of them or even knock several of them down. For example, if there's 2 Ket Wraith dogs coming after me or my team, I can knock them both down with a single throw, for example. Unfortunately, this does mean that you lose out on some additional recharge speed at rank 5, which is what I usually pick on the Human Sentinel, as well as the possibility of either the double throw evolution, where you can hit several enemies, a lot of enemies, with 2 good impact radius throws, or simply doing more combo damage. So losing out on both the rank 5 and rank 6 options on throw was kind of necessary for making maximum utility out of Backlash and the reflect damage that Backlash can deal. So energy drain, this will again be pretty much the bread and butter for this character with this particular setup. Again, energy drain, it restores your shields and does a little bit of bonus damage to synthetic enemies as well as shields. The rank 2 upgrade reduces the recharge speed a little bit. Rank 3 upgrade increases the effectiveness, giving you more damage and more shields restored. At rank 4, again, I went with recharge speed. You want to be using it as often as possible. The base recharge speed on energy drain is quite a bit longer than throw, but since throw is only to rank 4 on this character, it's easier to combo better. You don't have the opportunity to cast a second throw in between your energy drains for better crowd control, but it is easier to better time the 2 abilities together in order to set off your combos. Rank 5, I went with the extended drain, which gives you 4 seconds of additional shield restoration over time, as well as 4 seconds of priming enemies for tech combos. Chose this over the auxiliary drain, which simply makes it a radius attack, a very wide radius, and can restore a lot of your shields as such, but does not make it a priming power. And at rank 6, of course, the team drain to help the team as much as possible. Keep other people alive. Really handy for things like upload objectives or hack objectives. Really bad hack objectives, really bad upload objectives, or simply helping out teammates that you're sticking close to. Now, offensive biotics. This is the passive that the Asari Sentinel gets that is different from what the Human Sentinel gets, but there are some similarities to it. So at rank 1, you get an additional 10% power damage. At rank 2, you get an additional 5% weapon damage. And at rank 3, you get an additional 15 power and melee damage. So things start to get very different with the ranks 4, 5, and 6 options in offensive biotics. At rank 4, you get plus 25% to all power recharge speeds, which is super handy, allowing you to use your combos more frequently than you would with the Human Sentinel, because all of your powers have reduced recharge speeds with this upgrade. There is the other option of giving yourself 25% more power damage and force at rank 4 power enhancement in the offensive biotics tree. That's entirely up to you. At rank 5, you can go with an additional 10% weapon damage and 30% melee damage, giving you a total of 15% base weapon damage added on to your weapon itself. So not as big of a weapon damage bonus as you would get from the munitions training combat passive on the Human Sentinel, but still a decent choice. But the rank 5 combo detonation choice is definitely better for the playstyle incorporated here on this Asari Sentinel build. Plus 50% all combo damage and plus 30% all combo radiuses. This makes your combos as powerful as that of the Human Sentinel, who also has a plus 50% combo damage bonus in his combat passive of munitions training. And then the two rank 6 options of offensive biotics, they're more kind of for very specialized kind of play styles. For example, if you're going for a melee build, you want to choose this biotic warrior option on the bottom. And if you're just going for using like a throw as much as possible and just slapping things with throws left and right, you kind of want to go with the biotic expert option at the top. But in order to get full utility out of energy drain with the team support, as well as get maximum utility out of backlash, I had to sacrifice something, and one of them was these rank 6 options. I just didn't feel that they were worth it with the playstyle that I was going for in this setup. And lastly, we have Tech Armor. This is the same passive that the Human Sentinel gets. Instead of giving you additional health and shields, you get additional damage resistance, which gives a flat damage reduction on all damage you take. So at rank 1, you get plus 10 damage resistance. At rank 2, you get plus 30% melee damage. At rank 3, you get plus 15 damage resistance. So you have a total of 25. At rank 4, I chose the plus 20 damage resistance option, increasing it to a total of 45 damage resistance. And at rank 5, even more damage resistance, another plus 20, totaling it to 65. So that cuts all the damage you take down by about a third, I would think. Somewhere around there, since 100 points of damage resistance cuts it exactly in half. The one thing that I lose out on with this build is I do not have this shield feedback option, which is really handy on the Human Sentinel, makes him a fair bit tankier, increases shield regeneration for 6 seconds after taking damage, plus 50% shield regen and regen delay reduction after being hit. This would be extremely handy to have on this particular build for the Asari Sentinel, but in order to do that, I would have had to have given up on something such as the increased combo damage and combo radiuses, or the radius upgrade on throw, making it a little more difficult to hit enemies and not giving me as much crowd control by being able to hit several enemies at once with a single cast of throw. So that's essentially why I went with all that. This does not give her maximum tankiness. This does not give her maximum damage output. But it's very versatile, and it focuses largely on the team support and self-survival capabilities of energy drain, as well as making maximum use out of backlash and trying to farm those backlash points for challenge reasons, basically. So a look at the weapons. I went with an expert package for this particular setup here, and obviously that means I'll be equipping a pistol. In the video, I equipped my N7 Hurricane, which is a phenomenal gun even at rank 1. I simply equipped it with a pistol barrel mod and a pistol magazine to get maximum use and maximize the potential DPS that I can do in a single clip. There are definitely other choices that you can do for equipment, such as Shield Enhancer. Increase your shields by a flat 30%, further giving you more tankiness. Increase your shield regeneration delay reduction by 100% with the multi-capacitor equipment, so on and so forth. If you're doing a silly kind of melee, weird kind of hybrid build, you could definitely go with a Juggernaut shield. Increase your shield by 20% and melee damage by another 15%. Obviously, there's way many more choices you can choose for good weapons. The Rosarad's a good choice. The Equalizer's a good choice. The Hornet, if you're good with single-shot weapons. The Sidewinder's pretty good. The Talon is pretty dang good. And, of course, you can always fall back to the old faithful Charger, and by extension, you could also use the Charger S. Obviously, good variants to use of these weapons would be the Siphon variant to help give you even better survivability. Not only do you have several options to regen your shields with your powers, but your gun itself is going to be regenning your health, just giving you really good overall tankiness and good survivability. And boosters, I don't have anything equipped on right now. I believe for the part 2, which is the gameplay video, I had a power efficiency mod and a ammo capacity mod, because the Hurricane, and especially at grade 1, has a serious ammo problem. Considering how fast it shoots, it just goes through its ammo really quickly. So I believe I had a power efficiency and ammo capacity mod, but there are definitely other options. If you want to increase your tankiness, you can go with a Cyclonic mod. This goes really well with the equipment that gives you another 30% shields. So that's a really good choice if you're going for maximum survivability, maximum self-survivability, I should say, by trying to capitalize on your total shield output. You could also go with something like a pistol rail amp to increase the damage output of your weapon. And as always, you can fall back to using some kind of ammo mod. If you want to do something really funky, you could use something like a biotic power amp or even a tech power amp. My personal recommendation would be to use a tech power amp to increase the damage that your energy drain does when you use it. Biotic power amp would... Now, this is just what I know for 100% fact. Biotic Power Amp would simply increase the damage that throw does upon impact. I don't know if it would increase the damage of projectiles that are reflected back into enemies' faces from using Backlash. So, until I know for certain, I will simply go with the idea that Biotic Power Amp would not be as useful as a Tech Power Amp. And I think that about sums it up. There aren't really any other boosters that I would recommend using on this particular build. As I said, I believe I went with a power efficiency mod and an ammo capacity mod in the gameplay video. Though most of the time I go with something like a power efficiency mod and a cyclonic mod. Just for funsies. But having really nice low cooldowns on things like your energy drain and your throw and your backlash to help you with your overall survivability is extremely handy. Now, using all these abilities in Practicum, Backlash is actually a really nice piece of mobile cover. Even though it's temporary, you can still put it up in your face and just block some incoming fire for just a little bit to help you hold on just a little bit longer until your energy drain comes back from cooldown again, and you can cast it to regen your shields. And of course, you will also have some shield regen for a few seconds after letting go of Backlash. And of course, you can also do the throw energy drain combo as opposed to the usual energy drain throw combo. Of course, you have to do this to unshielded, unarmored, normal-sided enemies such as Ket Chosen or Outlaw Adhi, or you could do it to something like an Outlaw Pariah or a Ket Destined, but they have to be de-shielded first, or even a Remnant Assembler. You can hit them with a throw first, and if you immediately energy drain, again, you will set off a biotic and a tech combo at the same time, and it does a lot of area damage simultaneously on the same spot. So that'll sum it up for this video. If you would like to see some gameplay, part 2 will be in the description below. Click the link and it will take you right to it. In the meantime, this has been Mobius Y for Mass Effect Andromeda. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you found this video informational and helpful, and I will see you on the battlefield. Good luck, Apex agents.